Hello and welcome to DCG's development update. We are here with the platform, the core, and the mobile teams, and we're going to give you an update what happened in the past 2 weeks. We are planning this session for 1 hour, and we would like you to ask questions, give us feedback in the live chat below. If you have a question that wants us to answer in the dedicated session at the end, in the Q&A session, please use a Q or a question prefix so we will know that it is dedicated to the Q&A session for us and not just a part of the regular conversation in the chat below. All right, let me find the share button and start the slideshow, and let's start.
Oh, this time you didn't say without further ado. I'm so
Without
sad.
further ado, let's start with the platform team.
Exactly. Okay, so we have Evgeny and Odysseus that are not able to join today, so I will be taking over, and Lukash as well, actually. So I will be taking over their slides. We still have Masternode voting on the list here, but Masternode voting was not really the subject of the last 2 weeks. We just have it there because work had continued on it as there were a few issues that had still not been resolved. I would like to say that they are all resolved right now, and we are we would have merged it, except that our CI takes an hour and hasn't finished yet. But we will be merging it within the next hour. That is 103,000 lines of code. So it has been a kind of a long journey that we're very pleased has finished. I worked on GroveDB proofs over the last 2 weeks, and I'm going to explain why that's come out of the woodwork, and yeah, we'll dive into that. Ivan spent some time on Dashmate, including fixes there, and also including how to move, I believe, to Evo, how to run platform basically at start when you already have a core instance running. Platform review and fixes. Yeah, me, Ivan, and Odysseus were on those as well. Paul worked on fees and text user interface. And yeah, so mostly fees with Odysseus there. So there's been a lot of work over the last 2 weeks, and it's going to be quite an interesting little review right now. Let us go on into it. So yeah, so we're in the accelerated release plan. Where are we basically? So we finished the Masternode voting test, that's done. And since a lot of people are on different parts of these, we're not all focusing on one part at the same time. So while a lot seems in progress, a lot has gone to a good stage, but just hasn't been completed. So that's basically it. We've made good progress on the chain halt investigation. Actually, we're going to go through all of these during the review today. So let's just move on. We have some actual numbers now on the accelerated release schedule. Tender-1.0 was released in the end of, actually was beginning of July, I think, or end of June. Somewhere very close there. Might have been like 2 or 3 days off end of June. Then we had GrowDB. Before we said it was going to be early July. Right now we have a fixed date on the 12th of July. Dashmate and Platform 1.0 beta will be on the 15th of July. I think actually we're not at Dev 15 right now. We're at probably like Dev 18, but yeah. So the question here is, are we behind schedule? Yeah, maybe 4 or 5 days. But since I had left a 2 week buffer pretty much. Not a 2-week buffer, but like I had left some level of buffer. We're still on track to release on July 29th. So let's talk about Masternode voting quickly. This was work that was done between me and Lukas, mostly on this slide at least. And yeah, all of the issues that were found have now been fixed. So I won't go into these issues too much, but yeah, it all works now. And the reason why it works is because the issue was pretty severe. GroveDB had a serious issue that we found during this review of Masternode voting, and it needed to be fixed. So let me tell you a little bit about the issue and why and how it was solved. And so we don't worry anybody out there. It has been solved, and the release of the new system has already happened as of today. So the previous proof system was built in 2022, so about 2 years ago. It worked for most queries, but the maintainer left the project last year, and we had issues that came up that we found in Masternode voting. These issues were generally relative to the limits. Sometimes the proof would return too much data or not enough data, and it actually was causing a lot of issues because, we have to have like a very rigid proof system that doesn't have these problems. So I personally, actually, I think Evgeny started and then I continued. I personally spent a few days to try to fix the issues. And as I was spending time fixing the issues, I came into close contact with the code, and I discovered more issues that were apparent. And one of these issues that I discovered was very severe, and it made the code for proofs non-releasable by the end of the month. And obviously, this is not something that you want to have happen at like a few weeks away from release. So yeah, I basically decided to see how hard it would be to implement a new proof system for GroveDB. Let's go on. So first we have to understand like how proofs work. So GroveDB is a multi-level AVL-like tree. An AVL tree is a rotating auto-balancing tree that's, in our case, also Merkleized, meaning that it's provable. And, you can think of GroveDB as these types of rotating trees, but on top of rotating trees. So like if you had just left and right, in our case, you have left and right, and you have up and down. So it's like multi-dimensional tree structure. Pretty advanced stuff that makes it available to do some pretty complex type of work. Nothing I think exists like it in the industry. So the proof is basically a collection of these single level proofs. So as I said, like it's multidimensional. So you have like your rotating tree and then layers of these rotating trees. So on each rotating tree, you offer a proof of the subdata, and then you group these proofs together with another type of linking system. So on the individual layer, the proofs were working as intended. So that's good, right? The problem is that the data that was being queried at these subproofs was sometimes incorrect. The limits were not being completely added properly, and yeah, they're just the big issue that could not lead us to production was there was a way to kind of attack the system where the proof would basically become enormous, like so big that it would crash the system. So because of that, the GroveDB side of these proofs needed to be rewritten, and it was. and I have barely slept in the last 2 weeks. So now proofs are in a recursive structure. So each level proves the lower levels, and it actually proves it in such a way to verify that the limits are correct. Um, it's a different structure. I'm not going to be able to go too deep into the weeds, but um, there no before we had verbose and non-verbose proofs, and basically all proofs are now verbose. And you would think, oh, that would make them bigger, but actually no. The proofs are actually smaller than the previous proofs. Not much smaller, but yeah, they're a little bit smaller than the previous size of proofs, about 5 to 10% smaller, even though they hold all the data that is necessary to verify them. And it's because of the way that they're structured. It's a little bit more efficient. They no longer proofs also no longer can have offsets. This is not something that needed to happen for V1, but it was something that I wanted to do anyways, and it made just redesigning the system more simpler. Before we basically had that you could have offsets in your proof queries, meaning like, oh, get me these values and start at the element 3. Well, start at the element 3. But it actually made no sense in our distributed system, and the offsets cause proof ballooning. It's basically making the proofs much bigger. And so instead of doing start at index 3, you can still do offsets. You just have to do start at the previous value that you knew, and that's how the SDK was doing it. So we were actually never using the offsets in our SDKs or in platform. So it was a feature that was useless, pretty much, and shouldn't be used. So we got rid of it. And I just want to say it's done. We merged it in earlier today, and actually, that it was merged in today was a happy thing, because I had previously thought that I'd have to continue until the end of the week on this, because it was a ridiculous effort, and I finished early. So
Yeah,
done.
congrats.
And it was merged in, and after it was merged in, all the Masternode voting stuff worked perfectly. So platform loved it. Yeah, just this Paul's not here right now, so I'll just say that he added Masternode voting to TUI. I can do a demo. Did we ever do a demo of Masternode voting?
No, I don't think so. Do you want?
Uh, I mean,
How
sure.
about we record one and we
Well,
can share it
I mean, let's see if I have it up right now. Let's because I was doing it earlier today. No,
on
I
the
don't have it
spot?
up. But on the spot. No, I mean like it works perfectly. So
Yeah, we
uh,
can show a quick. We
okay,
can record a
at the
quick
end,
video.
if anybody is actually interested in a demo of Masternode voting, I'll do it at the end of the call. If so, to not distract people that don't have much time.
Yeah, okay.
Uh, Fee code review and adjustments. Yes, this is Paul and Odysseus's work. So fees were always we had budgeted some time for reviewing fees and doing the last few fixes. Odysseus wrote the refactoring of the storage fees, and it's now in review. The reason why it's not merged in is, yeah, I was head uh, I was knee deep. It's actually probably head deep or knee deep in some conditional subqueries issues. So yeah, I started reviewing it. It's going to be merged in soon. And then once we have this refactoring of the storage fees, we just need to adjust a little bit. And Paul's been working on the actual values. So we're going to be able to do that quite quickly now. Okay.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. Hello, everyone. So we talked about the securing CorePC for a while, and the core guys prepared the 21 release with new features. So this work also included the upgrade platform to Core 21. There is a slight change in create wallet RPC command. Probably this was only one breaking change would be updated. But then we faced with some issue when we're running Dashmate local network. At some point, we weren't able to propagate transactions if you run test suite multiple times. And it just at some point stopped working. We spent quite a lot of time trying to figure out what's the issue, what was changed in Core 21, why Core 20 is working well. And then we found some correlation between the having debug logs and also the mining interval, what you can set up for the network, for the local network when you're starting it. And by default, it's 2.5 minutes. But in our monorepo, we have a helper scripts that the starting network is 30 seconds. Core mining interval, called core blocks mining interval. And it seems the issue is somewhere around this logic. So if we go with slower blocks close to the normal speed, things are working well. We're still not sure exactly where the problem, but we have workaround at least. So for now, we just increase the mining interval to 1 minute, and it works well. Just for your information, why we're using the faster blocks for core is just to speed up all our tests, because some of them depends on the core blocks. So we like waiting for the blocks to see the information from the tests are appearing, and we can write the search for it. So we didn't decide yet. We just go with this workaround, or we're gonna do something else. So, but it's not a blocker anymore. That's a good thing. Yeah. So the priority of the CorePC calls, we discussed it, I think, 2 demo ago. But the main idea is that some of the RPC calls, what we're doing from Drive and Tender Dash, are critical for consensus for block production. And some of the calls to core, for example, from DAPI, or when we verify transactions in Drive before add to the mempool, they non-critical. And we did some testing and found an attack vector, and you can basically spam the system with some DAPI requests or broadcasting transactions, and you overflow the queue in core, and you can pause basically or even stop the chain. So this work was done by Costin core, and now we can we have a PR where we define the multiple users for different platform services. Actually, that's related to the third task here on the slide. We also specified whitelist of the commands, what those services can call and request from the core. And yeah, it works now. So basically it's solving the DOS attack vector. No, could you go back, please? You finished. Yeah, so it solves the DOS attack vector. The user can pause the chain and also provide additional security for the Masternode setup if an attacker, if you have some service compromised, an attacker can perform any command to the core from the service, including such dangerous commands like form sign, for example, and sign arbitrary data. So in this case, you can basically sign the blocks from another service and things like this. So that's done. It's in the review right now. Kosti is finishing the whitelist and core, and so I will have both very soon merged. Thank you, Balazs. Next slide, please.
Yeah, one thing that we do want to add, though, we knew about this, you know, we knew that this would potentially be a problem. It's not something that we just discovered. So, I mean, we just discovered it. We knew that we were going to discover it, or we had a strong inclination that we were going to. So let's not, we don't want to scare anybody. This was in the roadmap to do before the release as like something that was critical.
Yeah, we had this investigation, I know, like 2 months ago, and when we basically went through all the CorePC stuff and listed all the possible dangerous vectors of attacks and things. So we just be following the plan. Yeah, the protocol version upgrade testing. We worked on this topic with OD. This sprint, we have a document where we defined the testing scenario, what needs to be done, how we want to go through it. So it's done, and we added additional logging to monitor the upgrade process and also see how fee are changing. I will explain why we need this later. And basically the test scenario is some rolling update. When we update some nodes, we see what is happening, running some tests. Then we update more nodes and see how things are changing at some point when threshold is reached, when the majority of the nodes are signaling the version 2, we will see that protocol version is switched to a new one, and all the new functionality. So we're going to change slightly fees because it's kind of core and most critical part of the versioning when fees are changing, because it's very strongly related to how we do payouts and refunds for the fees. So we'll see the system is still working, and we serialize the state in the way that we can read it after that for version 2. So yeah, that's work still in progress. We have the base release. We're working on the platform, like target release, what we're going to update to, the version 2, and then perform this testing this week, later this week. Yep, thank you. Yeah, we also pay some attention to deployment of the platform to mainnet, and we thought how we can improve the user experience for Masternode owners and make sure everything is smooth and easy to use. So we made some improvements. This also were planned. First one is to import existing core data. If you have already core running on this machine and you're starting a Dashmate node, you could go through setup, and Dashmate asks you if you have already core on this machine, on this host, and if yes, then you can specify a directory to data-dir, and Dashmate import the blockchain data and also configuration from the core, so you don't need to scrape to sync the new instance of the core, which is running with Dashmate from the scratch. So the chance that you will lose some rewards is dramatically reduced. So it's just starting from the block what you already synced. We also added the additional verification for the system requirements we had before, checking on the Docker version and Docker Compose. And now we added additional system hardware checks like CPU, RAM, disk space, the swap, and Dashmate during the setup show you recommendation if your system requirements is lower than minimum recommended. It will propose to upgrade your system. Otherwise, if your node is not performing well enough, you have a chance to miss the payments, since your block proposal might be timed out in the network. Yeah, so that was done and merged. And the next one is a little fix for the problem what annoyed us a lot. I won't go into details. Also, there was a bug on testnet. We found that 0 SSL certificates are not renewing automatically, and it was fixed. And the last one is also related to user experience topic. I think some of the developers who is working with Dashmate, they in the daily work, they notice that Dashmate commands pretty slow and takes 2 seconds when it's actually doesn't nothing. And it's very annoying if you constantly usually use it pretty often. So we did some optimization, and we speed up it 4 times. So now it's 4 times faster than before. Yeah, we really wanted this. Yep, that's it about Dashmate. Yeah, other tasks. So this is some miscellaneous fixes and improvements, more related to the code review, self-review of the platform code before the release. We revisited system data contracts. We have DPNS, DashPay, withdrawals, and Masternode reward shares. So the goal was to make sure that contracts up to date and everything is correct there, because it might be complicated to fix it later when we release. So, I mean, it will be more difficult than do it now, of course. And yeah, so we went through it, fixed some issues, add additional validation rules to DashPay contract. We use new functionality for documents mutability, transferable logic, and ability to delete documents. So previously we had some data triggers to provide this functionality, and now we have the configuration options, which of course better to use. Yeah, so that was done. We also found some dangerous keyword in JSON schema, what you could use, but it allows some conditional logic that could make your document always invalid, or I'm not sure, even more. So we remove it, since nobody use it, and actually there is no use case for now for this keyword, so it was removed. The third one is related to data contract update. So we always allow to, so the idea of data contract update, that you can change the structure of your data contract in a way that previous data still compatible. And so you can add new optional fields to the document types. You can add new document types. And previously, we allowed to make required fields optional. So using this approach, you can basically deprecate the existing fields and introduce new ones. So if you want to change the type, you can make it optional, and people don't need to send it anymore. For example, it could be something big, right? Like some blob of binary data is required. So you probably want to get rid of it during your application evolution. Yeah, that's logically that's correct, but our current structure of indices does not allow it. So we temporarily disable it, and we're gonna look at this later down the line and figure out how we can deal with this. Yeah, also we found a bug on the new streaming endpoint, what we introduced, subscribe to Masternode list. Actually, this bug was always there in Dashcore library, but now we started to use serialized div when we're sending from the API to the client. Previously, we sent a huge JSON, and a new streaming point, we sending the serialized version, and in the serialization, it was a bug. So it didn't work if you have master nodes, not even master nodes. It wasn't visible on local network because we have only EVA nodes there on local network, but on DevNet we have normal master nodes as well. So that's why it show up on DevNet only. So it was fixed. Lukasz, before the vacation, he released Tender Dash version 1. So the stable Tender Dash. Woo! We have it now. That's the first component of platform what was released with production ready version. And Sam already mentioned that the chain hold recovery investigation. Yes, we were working on this topic right now. We somewhere in the middle. So we basically identified the potential issues. We have the mitigation for some of them already written down. We are writing the processes on how we collect reports from the users, how we process those reports, how we communicate to the community in case of chain hold, how we fix the particular issues, how we do. So basically, we want to have the written down the entire process with some basically branching in cases. So at the point if we have a problem, we have a solution, at least like written down. We just need to follow it, so it will speed up the process of recovery on mainnet. Thank you, Balázs. Thank you, everyone. That's it from my side.
Thank you, Ivan. Thank you. How about we
Alrighty.
continue with Pasta?
Yeah, thank you. So, primarily working towards getting V21 shipped right now. So, basically all feature work for V21 is complete. I have it that that Bitcoin backports are in progress for V21. That should really be on the V22 side now. We're not really merging in anymore, just backports into V21 unless they really provide something that is necessary in V21. V21 at this point is what I'd call like soft feature frozen. So there are still some PRs that are getting made that we're going to be backporting into V21. But the majority of work now is going towards V22, or I'm calling it V22. A lot of this stuff I'm expecting will release before an actual V22, and it'll be, V21.1, but that scope is not fully defined, and it will just kind of depend on the timeline around V22, and we'll have to go through a planning and figure that out. But focusing right now on getting V21 out, so primarily we've been working on some DevNet and testnet testing in the past couple of weeks. We've got a couple of DevNets deployed that we are testing the enhanced hard fork activation on, and then once we've tested it on DevNet and are satisfied with that, we'll be bringing that testing to testnet, of course. So right now, about 40 masternodes, and in fact, I'll cover that later. We can move on to the next slide. Real quickly, V20 status is basically the same that it's been, just keeping this around for when we have V21, and I can update it to that. Basically, everyone's updated. We got about 155 Evo nodes. We can move on here. So this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. DevNet testing's in progress. We did get RC1 out. Actually, I don't think it was July 1st. I think it was maybe the 3rd or the 4th. It was targeted for the 1st, but we pushed it back a couple of days. So testnet testing is in progress. Like I said, masternodes 1 through 40 are upgraded onto version 21. So far, we have not seen any issues on testnet with version 21. There's really no issues that we've seen so far, but we are still, relatively early in the testing cycle, I guess. Basically everything that we're testing right now, we've tested before, but we want to make sure, nothing between V20 and V21 is incompatible or has broken anything. So we're kind of going back and redoing some of the EHF testing that we've done before to make sure that everything kind of carries over. So far, so good. I'm probably around a week and a half to 2 weeks from now is when I expect to see testnet actually run the EHF hard fork. Maybe closer to a week, somewhere in that kind of time frame, a week to 2 weeks. The DevNets should get hard forked in just a day or two now. So that's kind of the process that we're in here. Like I've said previously, version 21 doesn't it is a large release, and it is a major release, but it doesn't include a lot of breaking changes. We didn't completely rewrite the way that quorums form with, quorum rotation and change what quorum does instance end. We didn't, get rid of Sentinel and, implement governance inside of core or anything like that. Relatively speaking, version 21 is, the goal was primarily to minimize risk while catching up on backports and delivering kind of valuable feature sets. So we're not too worried about it, but of course we want to give it due respect and go through this testing process as we should be. So that's where we're at. We're moving forward with that, and we'll keep people updated as we get closer to a testnet hard fork. And of course, merge PRs in the last 2 weeks. You can take a look at these here. These now are getting merged into version 21, most of them. Some of these might have been into version 20 before we kind of forked them off from each other. But now everything here should be going into version 21. All right. I think that is a wrap. We can move on to mobile.
Great. Thanks, Pasta. So yeah, you can see a theme here, Dashmate. Restoring pretty much all the previously built functionality to work with the latest platform version. We've been working on that for a while, but this sprint was a heavy one to get most of that restored. So that's good. Also revealed fixes and stability things that we have to do, particularly around the creation of usernames, and picked away a little bit at Dashbend and Maya. Move on to iOS. So this one, again, the theme Rust libraries and CoinJoin. Had a couple small fixes on Dash Wallet, but the main priority was Rust libraries, the macros, and CoinJoin. So a lot of really good progress on both those fronts, particularly on CoinJoin. And that's it for now. We'll be having a release go out on both platforms for support for the v21 core protocol update as well. It's a fairly low feature release, but necessary to support that core release. So that's it for mobile.
All right, thank you very much. Let's move on to the Q&A, the questions and comments section. We have a few, but I think first I would like to address the conversation that is going on between Major Rex, Brian, Delaware, other participants. They are chatting about whether we should have a smaller update, like a 5-minute update, but to a broader audience. So the idea here, what they are talking about, and I think we might just consider that, and we take it as a feedback, that it looks like, as I understand, there would be a need from us to have a very quick, very high-level update on what's happening that is very informative for everyday people, for normal people, normal users, and those who are interested in the development update, the technical parts. We can have this session, what we have just regularly right after it. So the general demand here, or idea or need.
I think we can definitely do that. Like right now, we kind of do that with the overview, but we can probably put what has been achieved as well in an overview at the very beginning for maybe all like the massive bullet points on mobile, the massive stuff in core, and the stuff in, like anything that's very big, things that, and then people can dive in if they want to spend another hour watching our beautiful faces.
Let's think about it a little bit more. But we can definitely. I was thinking the same, that there at the beginning you talk about kind of the big picture, at least on the platform side, so we can have it, so we can extend it to core and mobile, and we can give it a try. Thank you very much. And I saw another question here, what I would like to read it out loud. Bogdan Popov asks, what if some Masternode owners adds wrong blockchain data with the Dashmate functionality for adding already existing core data? Do you somehow validate the existing core data?
Yeah,
take it?
Obviously.
Yeah, correct. Of course, we're checking the data and we're checking the config, what network is using. And in the worst case scenario, your node won't be just able to connect to the network. And so what you need to do is just to sync it from the scratch. So nothing very bad couldn't happen, but we do validation of the data.
I mean,
to make sure
there's also like for one thing to add, right? Like let's say a user went into their core data to change transaction inputs and outputs, like at the very, very low level, and then somehow, because there's not a full check, a full reindex check, they are able to get this into platform. Okay, great. Now your node won't work. It's not like you could attack the system. I mean, it's a Byzantine fault tolerant system. So even if your node does something that, like, if you're trying to attack the system, you need well, 2/3 of the network to rewrite like data, right? And you need over 1/3 of the network to disrupt block production. So I mean, you can also just take your node offline. So not things that we're very worried about at this point.
Yeah, we worried about like if you by mistake use the different core data. For example, you try to set up mainnet node, but you by mistake specify the path to the testnet node. So in this case, yes, we do verification and we say, oh, it's a wrong network, and you need to choose another folder. So just to prevent you from losing rewards due to syncing from the scratch or wasting time on recovery your node.
Yeah, and just so people can understand, right? The way it works is that a proposer is selected randomly, well, pseudo randomly, and the proposer is going to propose a block. And when they propose a block, if the block is not valid because, you know, they've mixed in like erroneous core data, then the block will just be rejected and the proposer won't be paid. That's it. If you are not the proposer and you're a validator of that block, and you have erroneous core data, well, then you will reject the block. You won't be able to process it, and your node will stop. So it's not a very good idea for an attacker to try this attack method. They won't be able to get anything from it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you answered it thoroughly.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah. So the next question to Brian. Any update on Dash Spend? What's the status? Also, can Brian make Dash Spend part of this bi-weekly voting? I think it's also.
I think he did. Brian?
I didn't get the last question. Oh, making it a part of this meeting, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's any kind of dash spend work that we do. I mean, it gets included, you know, in the update here. We did have a little bit of testing on mainnet. It was our first round of testing on mainnet. Then the APIs became unavailable to us for some technical issues. So we're waiting currently on CTX to get a couple things fixed up for us, so we can finish our testing. But overall, as long as we don't run into any new issues, we're going to be ready to go as soon as the platform is up and running on Android. iOS will be some time behind.
Ivan, we see all of your family. No longer see them.
No longer see them.
Ivan, you have a beautiful family.
Thank you.
And
I realize
you
it,
are
so
beautiful too. But we can see you, Sam. All right, I don't see.
Oh.
Do you see any? I mean, I'm a little bit lost in the comments. Thank you for the comments, guys. Amazing. It's really good to hear from you and get feedback. I love that you talk to us and give us ideas. Do you see?
There was somebody. TL did want to see a little thing for voting, so I'll do it for 5 minutes very quickly. Okay.
Yeah.
For people that are interested, let me find this. Where is? Here's my terminal. Yeah. Do you guys see Platform Explorer right now? Or do you see, no, you see the wrong one. 1 second. Here you go. Okay. You see the TUI?
Yep.
Okay. So basically right now, we have in our wallet an identity, which is a voting identity, actually. If we look at here, this is a voting identity. To create the voting identity, you basically insert the key. There's a way of doing it, but I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to show the voting right now so people can see. So we go into the contract. Here we have this is the I mean, you can fetch the contract, but it's already fetched here. This is the Dashpay contract right here. Go into the domain. Here we can query the contested resources, and we can actually see that there are 3 usernames currently in voting. One is Quantum, one is Shumkov, and one is test name. So if we go into test name, we can see that it currently has 4 points for abstain, 4 points for this guy, and I can tell you basically it's what I mean. I voted for testing earlier. I voted from one Evo node towards this guy, and I abstained on another Evo node just to test. And I'm just going to run this for a while until the vote distribution happens. And then here we have Shumkov, like you can see here. Oh, nobody voted for Shumkov to get his name. Oh, so sad. Instead, we have somebody who locked and somebody abstained. And and Quantum, who voted here?
Some insights to our operation.
Wow, everybody
Our daily
wanted
work.
everybody wanted Quantum to get his username. Wow. Thanks, guys. That's awesome. So yeah, basically that's it. And if you wanted to vote, let me just show, like, okay, so right now I think with this node, I'm currently voting for Quantum to get, well, I'm not going to do it on Quantum. I'm going to do it on Shukov. So currently we have, I think I either voted abstain or lock. It doesn't show in this UI what I currently voted. We can actually add that in though. The query is available. But now I'm actually going to vote for Shumtov to get his name. So I'll just press enter here.
Oh, thank you.
And the vote was cast successfully. And now we look at it and look, now it went from abstain to him. So there we go. And if we go into here, no, I mean, we could actually, I can't really, it's too complicated to change identities to a new Evo node and start voting. So I'm not going to do that, but basically that's it. And then after so just so people are aware, the way it works is when the first person tries to register their username, they goes into anybody can also try to get that username for 1 week, right? And then after the first week has expired, nobody else can join the contest. So 1 week for contest. And then the second week, you basically have the voting that happens as well. And then at the end, the person with the highest amount of votes gets it. If it's a tie, I think it's the first person who registered it, who started the contest, if it's a tie. And if it's locked, that means that nobody gets it. If abstains gets the most, I mean, abstains don't count basically. So locks. And let's imagine really what lock is for. Let's imagine you're going to be on mobile. Let's imagine you're at a doctor's office and you're waiting. you can look through the different usernames on your iOS or Android device and quickly vote. Oh yeah, this one, yes, I like this one. I want to give to this person. Generally, there's going to be like I would say people on Discord saying, "Hello, this is really me. Please vote for me," et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is just more of a fun little experiment in the first 2 months for community members to get their names. And the feature itself can be used more heavily in the future. Currently, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's 0.2 Dash to start the voting process. So that would be about $6 in this process. If you don't want to pay that, you can get any name that doesn't have an doesn't have only letters or 1 and 2. So if you did like Quantum 3, oh, sorry, not 1 and 2, 0 and 1. So if you did Quantum 3, you wouldn't have to pay for it. You would get the name directly. There would be no voting at all. So I'm sure somebody is going to get leet right away for free. And there are,
All right.
I mean,
Thank you.
yeah, that's that. Hope
Yeah, thank you.
hope everybody
We have
enjoys it.
some, we received a question from Major X. Any love for Android wallet? And Ryan already answered it, that username and usernames and contact will replace address book in Dash Wallet, and CoinJoin will provide privacy for usernames. And I think that's it for today. Thanks for joining. Thanks for the vibrant conversation and for the questions. And hopefully in 2 weeks, we will try out the first short version of the development update. All right.
Let's not promise that though, because
I'm not promising, because we are not on a tight schedule, so we might not have
time.
attention.
2 weeks is the
attention.
23rd. 2 weeks is the 23rd of July. 6 days before our release. I don't know.
Yeah.
We might, we might
Exciting times.
not just an update here. We might not even have the next one, right?
Yeah.
We might actually release on the 29th and do a update like right after we release, because time is of the.
Yeah, got it. Good one. All right, thanks everybody. See you in 2 or 3 weeks. We will keep you updated no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. See you guys.